own to tell later, this is what I experienced through it.
Incredible. Incredible. I wanted to ask you, as a writing coach, do you also help in terms of publishing? Do you help with self-publishing, or do you the traditional publishing, or both?
So specifically to self-publishing. So for example, so I have a structure that helps any author or aspiring author to go. I meet anyone wherever they're at. Either you have zero idea of like what you want to write about, I help you determine what you're going to write about. And if you started writing and you're having roadblocks, right? Writer's block, like constantly year over year or month over month, I meet you where you're at and we eliminate that block. Because it's usually, it's a lot of internal work going within. And that's where my leadership coaching skills come into play as well. Like it goes hand in hand. And then there's like the next part of like the marketing piece, right? After you've written your book, it's how do I get the word out there the way I want to market it at my pace? Because there's a lot of people move at different speeds. And for me, with my clients and for myself, it's important to sustain that. It's important, like if you're like, okay, I'm going to show up every single day and talk about my book, you need to be able to sustain that so that you don't lose that audience. It's super important to go at your own pace and honor like what works for you, right? And then I support them with self-publishing on Amazon. And I also have options with like other traditional publishers that I've built relationship with that I've had like multiple conversations, and they supported me through, my journey as well as an author and also as a book coach. So I have those connections where I trust them to refer a client that wants to traditionally publish, and if they don't want to self-publish.
Great. What about editing and designing your books? Do you also help with those in those areas?
The full package. Yeah.
From the other book coaches or publishers out there, what makes you different?
It's for me, it's genuinely, I want to help more people tell their story at their pace and what they're comfortable with sharing. I know and I've experienced what that was like for me. Like Marlon, I wrote every single year, like I wrote like a chapter, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, like where do I go from here? Writer's block, right? And I'm sure you've probably experienced that. And until I decided to get help to do it. And I know that we really understand like, okay, what is my purpose? Why am I here? And that's something that authors discover like through that process of writing with me. And the other thing too that holds many people back is like, oh, I have to pay for this. And it's understanding that there is affordable support out there, right? There's a lot of resources. Either it's like you're reading stuff online or you're connecting with other authors and finding out like, okay, how did it go for you? So before I actually wrote Leading Your Truth, I connected with so many different authors intentionally on LinkedIn and also on Instagram, just to hear their story. And some of them had like celebrations on Zoom that I attended for like their book launch and stuff. And it's, you get to build this community, and not like, if you have this dream of, I'm going to write my book and publish it, and you manifest on that, and and you believe that it is possible for you, all the doors will open up, all the possibilities will open up, Like I've worked with I still remember one of my clients when I started working with her, and she was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know if I can afford this. And we work out a payment plan. And the thing is like, for me, it's about you reaching that dream and telling that story. I'm very fortunate that I'm able to have that flexibility of, okay, let's do a payment plan. Let me support you with that. But there's so much more power in us telling our story. I can't even, I cannot put it into any other words or be able to describe it. Like what we move in the world, like the conversations that I've had with people I've never met before, like after they've read my book or somebody gifted them my book, Leading Your Truth. It's when you get, like for me, when I get those messages, it just amplifies, it moves me to keep going and deliver on my purpose, because that's why I'm here.
What's the, would you say, the average length of time that it has taken, with one of your clientele to write a book?
It's it really depends on how many chapters, right? So we discovered that in the first like couple weeks of, okay, this is how many chapters I'm going to write based on a specific process that I take everyone through. And you're looking at 10 to 15 hours of writing to get your manuscript done. So, and that, we break it down to 1.5 hours a week, depending on what is happening in that person's life. Because again, we're not just writing, we're still working. We still, some people have their kids to take care of, and some people have multiple jobs, or some leaders like one leader that I'm working with works a lot of hours because they're in a leadership role, right? And they're working through that as well. So, and the cool thing is like, they always have access to me for that 4 month that I support them through the writing, the marketing, and the publishing.